A crack more than 120 miles long on the east side of the Antarctic Peninsula, finally breaking off, creating a spectacular iceberg weighing more than 1 trillion metric tons, roughly the size of Delaware. UCLA professor Aradhana Tripathi has spent her career studying Antarctic ice, traveling to the very peninsula where the ice shelf called Larsen C broke off. Professor Tripathi has seen 2 other big sections of the peninsula break off and dissolve. The first in 1995 and then another in 2002. She watched as this crack grew for years, caught off guard that this break happened so soon. What this latest break means is something scientists aren't yet agreed on. Antarctica, the coldest place on Earth, is a continent covered in ice, and icebergs have been breaking away from ice shelves for millions of years. But at the end of the 20th century, the peninsula was one of the fastest warming places on the planet. That warming has slowed or reversed slightly in this century.
Stop. Rewind.
The supply ship was readied for its long journey. Soon it was to trade New York's harbor for the ice-packed perils of Antarctic waters. Admiral Byrd on deck, along with the ship's skipper, Captain Melville. History was in the making as Admiral Byrd stood on deck. Then his ship plowed toward the open sea. Byrd climbed up the rigging for a last look at the New York skyline for many long, lonesome months.
Admiral Byrd and his companion plane will try the 800-mile flight first. The others await his orders.
At Little America, cameramen and Admiral Cruzen wait anxiously. And there comes Byrd. Cruzen can relax now. The skis work perfectly.
Daylight finds the planes over the pack ice. With frozen depth below and weather closing in, navigation becomes tricky. This close to the pole, the magnetic compass is no help.
Now beyond the pole, Byrd focuses his cameras and magnetic detectors on land new to him and to all mankind.
Bunger leans forward in amazement. His eyes have caught a sudden and unbelievable change in scenery. The universal white is turned to chocolate brown, dotted with blue. A cameraman goes into action. 300 square miles of land without snow. Land that might be in New Mexico or Arizona. Pictures alone will prove Bunger has discovered a warm oasis in the shadow of the pole. It is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. The astounding, undreamed of fact is that they are over a chain of warm water lakes whose shores, except for small patches, are free of ice and snow. Commander Bunger circles the largest lake in sight, 5 miles long. He comes in to make a landing. Water temperatures must be recorded. Samples taken. He finds the water fresh, the temperature 38 degrees Fahrenheit. On the shores are vast deposits of coal and of minerals of the utmost importance to civilization.
1948, they flew by the actual South Pole, and around that area they found an oasis, if you will.
So, if you go to Google Earth and do a time lapse on Antarctica, you can see they are saying there's an oasis there, but on Google Earth, it's just all white. But it kind of looks kind of patchy right around the South Pole, like it was covered up with something. But if you go digging down there, you'll find all these 360 pictures, a lot which are inappropriately tagged there, but there are some that are in Antarctica. For instance, if you would look at this 360 photo and compare it to footage from Admiral Byrd's expedition, they look pretty similar. An oasis in Antarctica. And then, of course, there's this one, which kind of blows me away. It's like this giant sea right around the South Pole. Lots of mountains in the background, They kind of look like evil castles in the background. It's pretty cool looking though. I'll zoom in a little here. I mean, it's not what I would have pictured down around the South Pole. And it's definitely not all white like Google Earth shows it. And one more area. This place is pretty crazy looking. Otherworldly. So yeah, these are all around the South Pole, right around the South Pole of Antarctica, and it's not a white, frozen, barren land directly around the South Pole. At least, it's very alien. While I'm exploring Antarctica on Earth, I decided to take a look around and just see what else I could find, and that's when I found this. So, off the coast, if you go between Antarctica and South America and over a little, you'll see these little islands. And if you just play around and look around and turn on all the filters like pictures and all that. Sorry about the cicadas. There's a lot of them around here. But you'll find this. Which looks like, well, what's it look like to you? The cicadas, no. I think that I'm going to go ahead and say that this iceberg breaking off Antarctica is going to be what they use for an excuse to say they found ancient technology in a flash frozen civilization. Speculation, of course. And of course, there's this.
The rear guard of Admiral Byrd's intrepid 4,000, veterans of the Antarctic, trained to combat the sub-zero enemy of the polar continent. They're going home to their mothers, sweethearts, wives, children. Home, strong in the knowledge that they have met the Antarctic's heaviest battalions and conquered. This is to be their lifelong reward, this knowledge and the Navy's highest commendation. Well done.
Fucking stoned.
Secrecy and mysteries challenged the official history of Antarctica. In the late 1940s, 1946, Admiral Richard E. Byrd led troops from the US, Britain, and Australia on a mission to Antarctica called Operation High Jump. This mission involved 4,700 soldiers, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft in what was officially called a research expedition. The part of the story that is seldom told outside of official circles is what Admiral Byrd encountered there. While conventional knowledge of World War II states that Germany was defeated in Europe, which is true, little is often said about the Nazi escape south to their bases in Antarctica. While the Allied powers won World War II on the ground in Europe due to their industrial might, the Nazis had far more advanced technology, and many members of Hitler's regime reportedly fled to the icy continent of Antarctica after the war. It's highly likely Operation High Jump was a military operation to engage these enemy forces and was apparently unsuccessful, as Admiral Byrd and his battle group suffered heavy losses and retreated to South America. A Chilean newspaper, the El Murico, ran an article detailing Operation High Jump on March 5, 1947, where Admiral Byrd stated in an interview, quote, "It is necessary for the U.S. to take defensive actions against enemy air fighters which come from the polar regions. America could be attacked by fighters that are able to fly from one pole to the other with incredible speed." End quote. German secret societies, such as the Thule and the Vril, are believed to already have had access to electrogravitic or anti-gravitic technologies and had created what is known as the Bell craft, named after its bell-like shape. These craft, with their advanced propulsion systems, are thought to have been effective in neutralizing the 13 ships in the battle group. In the years after World War II, many Nazi scientists immigrated into America to work within the medicine, aerospace, and intelligence corporations. This situation makes one wonder if American hands were essentially forced to accept these refugees. And most of them, of course, worked for NASA. One of them was Werner von Braun. The world then entered the Cold War years, but the mystery surrounding Antarctica still persists to the present day. In 1959, the Antarctica Treaty was signed by 12 nations, including Argentina, Chile, the UK, the US, and the Soviet Union, who had scientists operating in and around Antarctica. Fast forwarding nearly 60 years, another Antarctic protection deal was recently ratified in October 2016, this time signed by 24 different nations, along with the European Union. This set aside the largest marine conservation area in the world. Now, the question is, why are America, China, and Russia cooperating on the preservation of the wildest regions of the planet when so many of their current policies are producing increased enmity and tension, and the rest of the world has become an expendable war zone? At the same time, there has been a rise in reporting on events in Antarctica, albeit mostly from tabloid journals. On November 21st, an article in The Sun reported on, quote, "mysterious new pyramids," end quote, found buried in the icy continent of Antarctica, largely discussing a video showing Google Earth images detailing geometric pyramidal structures in the icy tundra. Another article, this time in the Express, also detailed these pyramid structures while outlining scientific evidence supporting the theory that Antarctica used to harbor vegetation and life. And lastly, the Daily Star published an article also describing how an ancient civilization would have been possible due to the scientific discoveries that Antarctica was possibly ice-free in the past, also touching on the intriguing Piri Reis map, a 500-year-old document showing Antarctica on it centuries before the official discovery of the icy continent. In other words, the Western world didn't even know that a continent existed there. Oddly enough, several significant figures have recently traveled to the Antarctic region in recent months, and under very mysterious or vaguely defined circumstances. For example, during the election, the US election, Secretary of State John Kerry flew down to Antarctica to study, quote-unquote, global warming. Also, former astronaut Buzz Aldrin also visited in recent weeks Antarctica and was forced to cut his journey due to a sudden medical emergency. Furthermore, other notable researchers have been reporting in recent weeks on the potential for a, quote, partial disclosure scenario, end quote, involving Antarctica, with the potential to reveal hidden technologies, information on ancient civilizations, and elite plans for maintaining their powerful grip on planet Earth. However, such speculation is above and beyond what we can actually prove at this point. Nevertheless, continuing Antarctic research expeditions combined with Antarctica's suspicious political past, today's the reported findings of megalithic structures on the barren continent of Antarctica, recent high-profile visitations, and updated political treaties for Antarctica are giving rise to a growing public curiosity about what may really be happening on the uninhabited continent. What's really taking place in Antarctica? And as we know, the only people allowed to be there are researchers. It's not allowed for the continent to be inhabited by residents at any point in time. So I'll leave a link below for you for this. It's on the Daily Sheeple. And I'll also leave a link on yesterday's post, my video concerning the Antarctica pyramids